If you don't believe creating
This summer, for a limited time, Paleo Valley Superfood Golden Milk is buy one, get one free. Here are 5 reasons why you should try it. Number 1, only the best ingredients. Turmeric for joint, brain, and gut support. Ginger, which is great for digestion.
Well, good morning, everyone. We are now beginning day 30 of the Democrat shutdown. And as there are millions of Americans this morning that are embracing themselves for further pain and hardship, we'll highlight some of that this morning. The Democrats, incredibly, are showing no signs at all that they want to end their shutdown. Now, they'll have another opportunity today. The Democrats in the Senate will have their 15th opportunity to do the right thing. We're concerned that they won't. And if they reject this for the 15th time, they will be ensuring that this shutdown continues past the November 1st deadline. And that is a fateful deadline for a number of reasons. Starting on Saturday, let me give you a list of things that this means for the American people. It means that tens of millions of American families will struggle to keep food on the table because the SNAP program benefits will run dry. It means that WIC assistance, that's women, infants, and children, the nutrition programs, will be at risk of running dry. It means that Head Start centers, which serve 60,000 children nationwide, will be at risk of closure. Millions of federal workers, and we've listed them here every day. You're talking about air traffic controllers and TSA agents and park rangers and Border Patrol agents, law enforcement around the country. The stewards of our nuclear arsenal will miss their paychecks. Thousands of flights, by result, will be canceled or delayed, while our borders and national security will be directly jeopardized at a very dangerous moment in world history. And our country will lose tens of billions in gross domestic product. With each passing day, the pain gets more real, and the Democrats are guaranteeing when they vote to reject our clean funding resolution. We expect they will do that again today for the 15th time. They are showing no shame whatsoever in their actions. Now, just as we clearly know what is happening, which we've recounted here every morning, the American people can never forget. We also clearly know why it's happening. And I brought a few friends. We brought some colleagues here from the state of New York and New York City to share with you about some of what's going on here. Back in March, this is very clear what happened. Let me summarize very briefly as I can. Back in March, Chuck Schumer voted for the clean CR, the same measure that's on the floor now. He did the right thing, and he went.
I just gotta say, like, is anybody making sense of this? I mean, who else would not show up for work for 30 days and still be able to have a job after that? By the way, these are people we supposedly elected to go to the state house, to the Capitol, to Congress, and speak up for us and speak up for our rights and our communities, and yet they cannot seem to do that. It's more of like we're just gonna do what we want and what we feel as though would be beneficial, I guess you could say, which it never is. Nothing's. Sorry, let's just boop. There we are. All right.
went on the floor of the Senate and he gave an impassioned speech of why we could never inflict all this pain on the American people. He meant it from his heart, and he was consistent in what he had done over his 44 years in Congress, always voting to fund the government. But when he did the right thing in March, he received an onslaught of criticism from the far left base and the Democrat Party. He almost lost his job. Many of you wrote about it. He was in jeopardy of not winning his next re-election. That's how serious it was. So Chuck Schumer got a bunch of consultants and staff in a back room, and they concocted a plan, a political stunt. And they determined right then that the next time there was a funding measure, no matter how meritorious and no matter how much it would cause pain to the American people, that he would vote against it. He would show a fight to President Trump so he could save his political skin. It's exactly what happened. He did this so he could prove to his base that he's showing a fight. And as a result of this charade, he has brought the Democrats to their lowest point in decades. Literally, the Democratic Party has its lowest approval rating. Democrats in Congress have their lowest approval rating ever in the history of polling. The labor unions, working class Americans, independents are fleeing his party. And they are coming to the party of common sense because they see us here trying to solve these problems. They see us here voting over and over and over to fund the government and give them their paychecks. And they see the Democrats dug in against it. And now Chuck Schumer is desperately trying to cling to power. Unfortunately, when you make decisions out of fear and political desperation, you have already lost control. And the new power center in the Democrat Party is one that should frighten every common sense American. The radical socialist wing is rising. It is led by people like AOC and Bernie Sanders. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer know this. They're smart politicians in that way. They can feel the political winds, and they know that they have to continue to act belligerently in order to gain the favor of the far left. It's their own political survival that they had put in front of the needs of the entire country. Let me say that again. The Democrat leaders in the Senate and the House have put their own political survival in front of the needs of the American people.
I mean, 100%, without a doubt. They're the ones legit coming out doing interviews saying, it's really horrible what's happening to the American people, but it's one of the few leverage times we have. I mean, clearly you couldn't even think to keep your mouth shut, but you openly went out and said, like, yeah, we're pretty much just doing this as leverage. I don't understand how, I mean, they still have jobs. In my opinion, you could almost kind of charge them with treason. I mean, these people are openly defying what the president has said, and they're going against the president. And basically they're just trying to blackmail him into getting what they want, which is, more money for illegals healthcare to the tune of like $15 million. And then they turn around and they try to claim like, oh, it's Americans losing healthcare. That's what's really at stake here. No, the only ones losing healthcare is the illegal immigrants we've already been funding. We don't want to continue to fund them. But I mean, he actually goes on. It's either in this one or in yesterday's about some of the other ridiculous demands they want, like $4 million for LGBTQIA plus not adversaries. It's accolades or something like that. And they also want more money for some type of group in Africa or Indonesia, something weird like that.
Exhibit A is Zoran Mamdani. New York City, America's largest city, the cradle of capitalism that has always been, is facing a real crisis right now. They've got a 34-year-old, unproven, untested socialist who looks to be the next mayor. He may well be elected. Mamdani.
If you think that's a crisis, I mean, right now, I don't mean to keep stopping and talking, but Massachusetts in a crisis right now. We've got Maura Healey using a federally funded program. she weaponized to then go ahead and text message all the recipients of the SNAP benefits to blame Donald Trump for the reason they're not getting food tomorrow, this morning. So you have a tyrannical governor, literal tyrannical governor who, just makes up rules willy-nilly, even when she wasn't the governor, back when she was AG and she didn't have the authority to do some of the things she did. That's why they say it's, she's like, oh yeah, they passed legislation. No, she went and did a press conference and then said a bunch of bullshit, which was never actually laws. But just this, this August that just passed, that's when she passed the law, saying you could only own certain type of firearms and magazines need to be less than 10 rounds and all this other communist bullshit. But she's using the federally funded program to try to blame it on Trump when she is sitting in some, obviously we don't know for sure, she ain't coming out and telling us, but she's sitting around somewhere $6 to $8 billion on, backup money, Massachusetts money, which is just taxpayer money. She's just been ridiculously scraping off the backs of the Commonwealth Americans, really, and as well as using the Eversource program. If you've noticed those hikes in your bill, for the delivery fee, for the pipes that have been in the ground for the last 80 years. But the delivery fee of that, which is now almost adding up to more than the amount of your entire bill. Also, I'm 34 years old. I'll never be able to afford a house in Massachusetts. Houses that were in the range of 2 to 250 are now anywhere from 4 to 600,000, and you can't even purchase a plot of land for under 200,000 in this state anymore. It's really kind of ruined.
Winning New York City would be the biggest win for the Marxists, the socialists, in the history of this country. We have, to this point, in nearly 250 years, been able to hold off those kinds of ideas. We've been able to cling to the foundational principles of America, the ideas of individual freedom and limited government and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility and free markets and human dignity. All those things are in jeopardy when the Marxists take over. And it's the clearest sign yet that the Democrats' radical Marxist wing is winning the battle for control of their party. Look at where the energy is. This should be alarming to everyone around the country. Mamdani has, of course, called to defund the police, to abolish all prisons, to legalize prostitution. He lambasted the New York PD, the New York Police Department, as a racist system. And you might have seen, if you in the media are covering this, but there was a new video uncovered from 2023, just 2 years ago, and he said, quote, "We have to be clear, when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF. Look, it's a unique talent to merge one's loathing for American law enforcement with their loathing for the Jewish people. But this guy's, he's managed to do it. New York is just the tip of the iceberg. It's not isolated to America's largest city. It's other cities as well. Look at Seattle, where the leading candidate for mayor is an open socialist. Look at Minneapolis, where the sitting socialist mayor is facing a challenge from his left flank. And look here in Congress, where we have our own wing of Marxist acolytes serving here. Amazingly, the media is criticizing Republicans for fixating on Mamdani. I read some of that yesterday. This socialist uprising is something that we have a responsibility to call out and sound the alarm.
Well, yeah, that's the usual leftist tactic. I mean, it doesn't really matter what it is or what it's about. Pretty much anything you call out against them, just in opposition. Half the time, it doesn't even have to be anything threatening or anything, aggressive. You can literally just ask them a question, and it turns into, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a sexist, white supremacist, homophobic, transphobic, and I mean, it's literally all just off a question, you know. It's kind of, it really shows the level of tolerance they have, you know. The party of acceptance, the party of we'll shoot you if you don't agree with us.
Alarms. That's what elected representatives of the people are supposed to do, and we take that responsibility seriously. And obviously, Mamdani is a big issue here in the halls of Congress. Why? Because the second highest ranked Democrat in the country, Leader Jeffries, endorsed him. They're making Mamdani a mainstream Democrat now, and this party has left the people. Of course, the press wants us to ignore Mamdani. Here, it's an embarrassment because most of the press is on the side of the Democrats. They don't want us to talk about that, but we have to. Because by endorsing Mamdani, Hakeem Jeffries has endorsed and co-owned his positions, his past statements, his Marxist playbook, and everything else that guy espouses. And so, too, does every single House Democrat who will be inviting their leader, Jeffries, to their campaigns and to their districts next year. Every single one of them at every campaign stop should be asked, what do you think about Mamdani? What do you think about his positions? While House Democrats court Marxists in New York, Senate Democrats have chosen to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan CR. It's the first time in history.
And that's the thing, too. Same CR they've already been signing for who knows how long. I mean, we can all agree the government's already spending too much money, but does that mean we should stop it right now and cry about it so that way families can go without food? Well, I mean, to the Democrats, yeah, that makes total sense. You know, for them, every day of the shutdown gives them more strength, makes them stronger. Not too sure what that means, but those were sorry, not Bernie Sanders. Those were Chuck Schumer's exact words. Like straight from the horse's mouth. And take it for what it is.
History of this country, that any party has done that, has chosen, had the audacity to shut the government down over a totally clean, nonpartisan funding measure. They're bowing to the demands of their far-left base, and no one can deny that. The facts are very clear. The American people are intelligent. They understand what's happening here. We pray that the Democrats, at least a handful of centrists, if there are any moderates left in the Democrat Party in the Senate, we pray that they will come to their senses and they will do the right thing by the American people, that they will stop all the pain and that they will reopen the government. As I mentioned on Saturday, things are going to become very dire. There is one way out of this, the easy way, the obvious way, and that is for the Democrats to do their job and vote for the CR. Now, I mentioned we brought some of our good friends and colleagues here from New York to talk about the mess that the Democrats have created in the Empire State. Now, why are we focusing on New York? Because, again, it's a bellwether for the rest of the nation. If you're watching at home, you need to understand the dynamics of what's happening in New York, because you have to ensure that it doesn't happen in your city, in your town, in your state. And these folks are watching this, and they're fighting it. Our Republicans in New York are trying to hold the line. They're trying to defend what is great about this extraordinary and exceptional nation that we have. But they have a lot of headwinds, and they're here to share how this reckless shutdown is impacting everyday New Yorkers. And I'm delighted to bring up to the podium, before we get our leadership reports here, one of my dear friends and colleagues and classmates back from the 115th Congress when we came in as freshmen together, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who is from the 22nd District of New York. She does an extraordinary job here for her state and for the country. Claudia, go ahead.
Number one, worst fruit for your waistline.
I really love grapes.
The reason you love...
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues. I actually hail from the 24th District, a little bit of... We've had some redistricting in upstate New York a couple of times. But I just want to say good morning and thank you again to my colleagues for being here. This is really important. And I wish I could say that I am surprised by what we're witnessing, but this is exactly what happens when the Democratic Party surrenders to its most radical fringe. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries lack the political courage to stand up to the Marxist, anti-Semitic, anti-law enforcement based.
No. It's not that. They're not. I wouldn't say they're scared. I'd say they're more terrified. It's kind of like they've created a monster and now they're scared to try to stop the monster from doing whatever it wants. So they're just kind of like, we're just gonna like step aside, kind of let the blue-haired liberals with the nose rings just kind of destroy what they want and do what they want because we don't want to get in the way.
Led by Mamdani now, AOC, and Bernie Sanders. Schumer and Jeffries are both weak leaders from New York, and specifically New York City, where they have never had to face serious political opposition and have enjoyed nothing but glowing praise from their friends in the media. They are ill-suited to lead the Democratic Party at the national level, which is on dramatic display with each passing day of this tragic shutdown. They have traded true leadership for appeasement, responsibility for disorder, and principle for political survival.
And Maura Healey is just like straight screwing Massachusetts because she's literally sitting on somewhere between 4 and 6 billion. And it's like, you could fulfill the SNAP benefit program in the state of Massachusetts. She's choosing not to, and she's trying to blame it on Trump. I mean, it's pretty pathetic. Also, it's also kind of weird when you look into her finances. Kind of goes like Maura Healey took office, and I mean, I don't know, it's kind of skyrocketed since then. I don't know how somebody with a salary of, if I'm recalling correctly, it was 187,000 when she first took office. She bumped herself up an extra 102,000. So it brought it to 289, I believe, and somehow has made like $4 million in like 3 years, but I don't know. I'm not using girl math, so it doesn't make sense.
Shutdown is their choice. They've surrendered to radicals funded by dark money groups pushing anti-police, anti-Israel, anti-American garbage. Now the country is paying the price. I served with Hakeem Jeffries in the New York State Legislature. He sat right next to me. I've seen this playbook before, as have my colleagues in New York who also served in the legislature. It is the same corrupt Albany routine. Reward insiders, punish taxpayers, and blame everybody else. Today, it is something far worse. A movement run by socialist Marxist activists. I don't like to call them socialists, they're really Marxist, and extremist networks, and they have hijacked the Democratic Party. And as the speaker pointed out, just look at Zohran Mamdani, a member of the State Assembly, by the way. He actually defeated a fairly liberal member of the Assembly, who is, in a narrow election, but there he is in the State Assembly. He is the face of the new far-left coalition, and make no mistake about it, the new leader of the New York Democratic Party. His campaign is not grassroots. It's bankrolled by Soros money, radical clerics, and communists working together to push a Marxist agenda in America's largest city. Schumer and Jeffries will not stand up to this movement. We've seen this because, as the speaker pointed out, they're terrified of it. They have built their political survival on appeasing the far left, and now our entire country is being held hostage by it. They cannot open the government without angering the radicals who radically run their party. The Democratic Party is now controlled, as I said, by the Marxist activists, dark money donors.
Well, yeah, the left has to fear the monster they created, and the right has decided we're not going to cave into your demands. Like, this is just bullshit. We're not going to turn around and give you more money for illegals. We're not going to turn around and take shit out of the bills we signed into law. I mean, you'd quite literally have to be brain dead to think that we would do that. Which clearly, you know, Chuck Schumer and AOC and all of them are.
This is not a grassroots effort. And anti-American ideology is dominating this. And they would rather destroy the system than to lose power. And unfortunately, Leader Jeffries and Leader Schumer are just succumbing to this. New Yorkers are...
Which, one more thing, before we carry on. How is it that people like Hakeem Jeffries can come out and say, like, oh, well, we're definitely going to go after anybody that supported the Republican Party as soon as we get back in control? You know, we'll be making a list and we'll be putting you in jail. I mean, we're not doing that. You know, I say we. I don't know where I politically align. I'm definitely not on the left. And I try not to be extreme right. I'm not really a conservative, kind of. I'm an American. That's what it comes down to. I'm a fucking American. America should come first. There's no reason we should be giving other countries that are doing just fine, I might add, hundreds upon millions of dollars for no reason. And then, yeah, you get people like Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, this dude's legit came out and said, like, my political opponent, which was just a person he sat in the same room with and didn't agree with, yeah, he should die. He's, like, worse than Hitler. If we had 2 bullets, we should give him both. And then the fact that he said, like, the dude's kid should die, that was just... That would have a hard time sitting well with me. I don't understand how he still has a job, a position. Is it a sham that he's in there? Was he just like put in there and they ignored people's votes, or did people actually vote for that? I'm not too sure. But I mean, to be able to say that, ugh.
Are already paying the price, and we have been paying the price. From Albany's Medicaid for Illegal scheme to Mondami's socialist city agenda, working families are being crushed under taxes, mandates, and ideology. And if we don't stand up, the damage will not end at the Hudson. It will reach every corner of upstate New York and across this country. We are here to fight for the men and women who build, farm, serve, and raise families across New York and our nation. They are the backbone of this nation, and they deserve a government that works for them, not the political insiders who have created this mess. So my message to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries is simple. Stop playing games. Stop bowing to this mob and reopen our government. Pay our troops, fund essential services, and start putting American families, and especially in my case and my colleagues here, New York families first. And my message to New Yorkers is this: stand up, speak out, reject this radicalism that has taken over not just our city, but will take over our state. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the moment.
All right, we just got the expedience in. It is much larger than I expected. So thankfully I have a very handy husband and he's going to put this all together for me. So.
Well, thank you, Claudia, and my other colleagues from New York for coming. And it's so sad to see what's happened to that great state of New York. But if you go back to November, when President Trump won an overwhelming victory to come back as president, defeating Kamala Harris, winning every one of the 7 swing states. In those months after, what you saw was this internal conflict within the Democrat Party. Who is the head of the Democrat Party? You heard it over and over. Some people are trying to raise their hand, a very, very weak bench of failed leaders, primarily governors from failed states, wanting to jump ahead of everybody else and claim the title. And yet, as the Democrat Party stayed that rudderless ship for months and months, because of this perfect storm, that the two top Democrat leaders in the House and Senate both hail from the state of New York. With the emergence now of Zoran Mandami, you have seen Zoran Mandami quickly become the new head of the Democrat Party nationally, because Chuck Schumer, who is the head Democrat in the Senate, and Hakeem Jeffries, who's the head Democrat in the House, both hailing from New York, are scared to death of that far-left extremist, radical, socialist, Marxist movement in their own party, starting in New York. And because Mandami has taken off there, it is affecting real people everywhere in America. Devastating consequences. We've talked about it over and over. You know, the last few weeks, we talked about the pain, the suffering that Democrats were causing to especially federal workers, our troops, air traffic controllers, every other federal worker who wasn't getting paid. Some, President Trump found ways to get paid. Others, there weren't ways to do the same thing, but the president worked overtime. Look at what the president did working overtime, at least doing his job, in China this morning. A historic trade deal with China announced, where they resolved some issues on tariffs. Our soybean farmers going to be able to sell more of their products into China. Critical minerals that we'll be able to get. All of those things President Trump continues to do while Democrats want to try to spew chaos around the country. But the harm to families, as we've been talking about, while real, is unfortunately going to get worse. And we've been telegraphing.
Yeah, it is gonna get worse, especially when you got people coming out saying, "Oh yeah, we gonna get ours. Like, we gonna do what we need to." And I mean, I would like to not make it a race thing, but I haven't seen any videos of any white people saying that they going out specifically looking for black people to rob their groceries from. But I've seen it the other way around. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to make it about that, but if I pull up my history right now, that's what you're gonna see.
This for weeks, pleading with our Democrat colleagues in the Senate. Just five Democrats need to get the courage to end the shutdown. And only they can do it. They know that. And what are those consequences? We've been talking for weeks. Coming this weekend, Saturday, 42 million SNAP beneficiaries will lose those benefits. Those cards are going to go to zero. When they go to the grocery store to try to put food on the table, there will be no money in those accounts. And what is Chuck Schumer going to tell those families? It's no longer hypothetical. It's no longer theoretical. It's real suffering and pain, and they know that. We've given you the quotes over and over these last few weeks. They admit they are causing suffering. They're using the American people for leverage, and they just don't care. But I think they're going to start hearing more and more from people. There's some people we...
Yeah, see, the thing is, I'm gonna stop this for a second real quick. Like, straight up, I didn't like lose a family member, but I pretty much lost a family member. My sister went online and did the whole, if you support Trump thing, delete me. If you support the shutdown, delete me. Alright, so I still love my sister as a person, but she is just not informed, and or she's following the wrong sources, because neither the shutdown is Trump's fault, and I don't know why she was bitching about Trump to begin with, but maybe she's just got something against Trump in general. But it's sad to see, like I lost a family member over this thing, And there are people and families out there that are not going to get food, that are going to go hungry, and it's truly sad that the Democrats have let it come to this. I mean, we needed 7 votes. What people don't understand is it's like in a classroom. If the teacher asks you, okay, do you guys want to do schoolwork today, or would you like to watch a movie? Well, you have those 2 options. It says, those of you who want to watch a movie, raise your hand. And let's just say there's 25 kids in the classroom. 14 raise their hand to watch a movie. But then 11 raise their hand and say, well, we want to do the schoolwork. Now, in this sense, let's say the teacher turns around and says, I need at least 20 of you to vote on one subject. So whether you all want to watch the movie or you all want to do schoolwork. Now, see, we got 15 people already. Sorry, I said 14. We got 14 people already. So we need 6 more. So what do we got to do? We got to call over the other 11 that are over there. We got to say, hey, listen, we need 6 of you to come over here with us, and we can make this work. That is how it, I just explained it pretty much in the dumbest possible way I could think of. Like, if I was going to explain it to my 8-year-old, like, that's pretty much the way I would do it. So, yes, the Republicans have the majority control of the Senate. They have a majority control of the House. Obviously, the president. But they still need a certain number of votes to pass legislation. They need 60. They already had 53, maybe 54. They needed like 6 or 7. So far, 3 Democrats have, I don't even want to call it caved. They've come to the agreement like, all right, let's just vote for the clean CR. We'll keep spending too much money for now, and we'll figure this out, a little bit further down the line, when people aren't going to start going hungry tomorrow. But I mean, three or 4 more can't come to the table. And why is the majority going to cave to the 10% crying about this? That makes no sense. Along with the fact that, like, the 10% thinks they're going to make demands and try to blackmail those who hold the majority right now. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, It's like, well, you need 4 of our votes. That's cool. Give us like 20 million for illegals for healthcare. You could do that, right? You just sign that over. Give us 20 million for those the illegals for free healthcare. While you're at it, give us like another 4 million. That's to like spread LGBTQ awareness in like South Africa. And then like, I can't even remember all of them. Some of them were just like crazy off the top like that. But like that's legit. That's what they want. That's their demands. As if we haven't given enough money away already. Democrats are just not happy with the amount of election fraud that they were able to get away with. They would like a little bit more. So the whole, immigration thing is really screwing up with their voters. It's really kind of messing with their whole plan.
We've been hearing from the National Veteran Advocate, who's retired U.S. Army Sergeant Eric Donahoe, said this, quote, "The decision to vote against advancing the CR is now causing financial harm to families who serve this country." He went on to say, quote,
which they also, Trump and JD Vance, they did find a way to pay military workers for now, um, which, yeah, I don't know how true it is, but the word today, the talk today was that Trump might just turn around and destroy the filibuster. I don't even know if he could legally do that. I don't know how that works. Like, do they like cast votes on it to vote out the filibuster? I'm not too sure, but I mean, this can't continue, you know, especially when you have tyrannical governors like Maura Healey that want to weaponize a federally funded system and use it against Donald Trump by telling the recipients of the Massachusetts SNAP. I got like 4 friends that hit me up. They're like, "Is this for real? Trump's taking away my food stamps?" It's like, no, like, you guys don't like being political, right? It's like, well, no. It's like, well, you probably should, you know, because if you're concerned about this, I mean, you could do a little bit of research. You could look into it a little bit yourself. I don't try to push people to be political. It's really, honestly, it's fucking training. Like, it's truly a mental gymnastic jungle gym that you once you're on, you almost like can't find a way off, especially if you're slightly on the right side, because you see some of the absurdities of the left and the straight up lies and the allegations, and it's like, like, are you serious right now? You guys that voted for Biden, like, you want me to start pulling up the videos of him sniffing kids again? I mean, that, like, y'all voted for, I don't even know what I can say and what I can't say. I haven't been live streaming in like 4 years, but I don't see how I don't see how Democrats should still have a job. I've probably had 10 jobs, 10 careers in my life, and there's not a single one where I could say, oh yeah, I just like took off for a month because I was upset about something, you know. But then I went right back to it. They had my spot there waiting for me, you know. If anybody could tell me a job like that, but not, let me kind of, you know, straighten the parameters a little bit. Not a seasonal job, because obviously, you get good amount of time off with a seasonal job. So I'm just saying, like, name me any job that you are supposed to work Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I mean, I'm not gonna say, you know, all 52 weeks out of the year people take vacation, you know, but I mean, like, 50 weeks out of the year, you know, a couple weeks off. Is there any job where you could just like take off for a month, be like, I don't like it here, and I want you guys to make it better for me, and then think that you still have a job? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I spoke with Democratic staffers that I know they called this shutdown a political opportunity. They think the more Americans hurt, the more power they gain. They even bragged about it, Donahoe said. Quote, this isn't a headline to us. It's rent, it's groceries, it's mental health, it's stability. And of course, you've heard just a few days ago, we had the National Air Traffic Controllers Association and the American Federation of Government Employees demanding that Democrats pass the clean CR. More and more, you're seeing this growing chorus of people from all corners, including.
And you really are. I mean, I could pull up a couple videos right now. What's his name? Pennsylvania. I want to say it's Pennsylvania. Fetterman. Dude, John Fetterman. Yo, that dude is like actually kind of gain a little traction in my books. Because, I mean, the guy is, I guess he's not stupid anymore. He seems to, like, see what's going on with his eyes and seeing that, like, Democrats are just full of shit about 99.9% of everything that they do. Alright, anybody sitting on your phone right now, if you have the chance, open up something like an AI, like ChatGPT, alright, and ask it, what has blank, your local governor, your senator, ask your AI, what has blank done for me and the people of my state or the residents of my state. Sometimes you got to be specific too, because they might just want to throw in everybody in your state. So I go down like nitty gritty. I'm like, what has Maura Healey done for all of the residents of Massachusetts? Not only one specific group, like the LGBTQ, or not only for trans people, but what has she done for the whole state? And it's like, oh yeah, she passed the Affordable Care Homes Act, and she signed that and passed legislation to make stuff cheaper. And you say, all right, well, did any of that work? And it's like, well, no, actually, it didn't. Prices are actually going up higher, and she passed legislation, but it takes time. It takes time because I just heard Elizabeth Warren running her old ass mouth earlier on X, saying on day one, Trump said he was gonna come in and do what? Do the shit you couldn't do for the last 40 years? Like you just walking around there like that's your throne, that's your kingdom. You ain't never going home. You'll die on that hill, 'cause you own that shit. Like, what tribe did you? Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What tribe did you go for? You were Cherokee, right? Oh yeah, you were full of shit. That's what you were. I mean, shit. She lied about shit just to get college scholarships. And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't mean it. Like, I think you guys just misunderstood me. No, no, no. Just, I don't know. I was literally, I got into politics in like the last, God, when did the headaches start? Uh, 2 years ago, maybe? And it's like, like, yeah, y'all politicians make me sick, bro. Like, I don't understand how, like, you must legit think like there's a blanket right here. Like, we just can't see what you're doing. Because some of them are just so stupid. Like, the sky is orange. No, it's not. No, I'm telling you, the sky is orange. No, it's not. Like, you can try to lie to us, but like, we have eyes. Some of us have more than one brain cell. We can see what's going on. I mean, you may get the 5 to 10% of people that is not bright enough to even make it in the army to legally burn shit, but you're not gonna get the 80 to 90%, that voted for Donald J. Trump. But don't worry, you know, that No Kings protest where you guys really cleared out the nursing homes, that really showed us.
Including Democrat corners telling their own party leaders, stop this madness, end the madness, and vote to open the government. But again, this weekend, it gets even more painful, more suffering that they will impose if they keep this madness up. And so,
which begs one more question. If chaos and madness ensues over the weekend, which some people are like, oh yeah, right after once the first comes, that's it. It's gonna pop off, and it's like people run out of food before the first. People on welfare and food stamps ran out of food like a week ago, maybe even like a week and a half ago. So I mean, if they were already be liable for the chaos that they ensued, would it be out of the question to open lawsuits or petitions against the lawmakers in your state if they caused those issues? Just wondering. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm going to try to find 5 Democrat senators. It's all we need is 5. So let's start with Jon Ossoff in Georgia. Starting this weekend, over 1.3 million enrollees in SNAP in his home state of Georgia lose their benefits. 1.3 million, Senator.
All right, so let's just say this. If you have a problem with the food stamps, if you have a problem with the big bad orange man taking them, which obviously he didn't, we just need to pass this CR bill to keep the money that we don't have spending. If you have a problem with this, you need to be calling your state representative. Like, if you're not picking up the phone and calling every single day saying, listen, you know, obviously if your state representative is a Republican, I mean, there ain't nothing to call there. They've all agreed to it. But if your state representative is a Democrat, you need to be calling that office every single day, and you need to be saying, like, listen, I don't care about your feelings. I elected you to do a job for me and for the people of the state. If you're not going to do that job, you're not going to have that job. You need to let them know that. And for the people that, I mean, they're saying pretty much everybody's losing it altogether, but at first it was going to be the states that defied the orders first, meaning like California, Washington, Massachusetts. I'm sure there's others. I feel like those are the 3 biggest that straight up just go against anything Trump said. Trump could turn around and be like, breathing is the best thing for you. And fucking, there'll be like 40 million people that drop dead tomorrow. Because they'll just, he said breathing is good for me. Yeah. Like the Tylenol shit. I'm pretty sure like there was hundreds of women that were hospitalized because of that. But like 4 of them actually died. I was like, wow, you proved the point so good. I don't mean to laugh, that's a little messed up, but you really showed us. But if the states that were gonna lose it first were those main states, because they defied the orders, they were the ones that were losing the federal funding first. If you're in one of those states and you're on SNAP or supplemental, which if you haven't looked up the definition of supplemental, it means extra. It doesn't mean a main source, it means extra. You're supposed to work for yourself. It's like, I got 6 kids. It's like, okay, well, find your neighbor that has 3 kids and no job, and y'all need to come to an agreement that somebody's watching the kids and somebody's getting a job. I mean, it's that simple, right? But everybody on Snap was told before, like, you're supposed to be working. If not working, you're supposed to be applying for jobs. Supplemental is extra. It's supposed to be extra for you. So if you're relying on that as a main source, that's already part of the problem right there. For one. For two, I know people with 1 kid that get like $120 a month. I know other people with 2 kids, and they're bigger in size. I'm trying to say this very nicely. And they're different than me. And they like to boast online and belittle everyone else and tell everyone, like, look at my $4,300 food stamp haul for the month. It's like, I don't care if that's for the month. I mean, I don't have like 1,000 to spend a month. How the fuck you getting 4,300 for free for doing nothing? And then it's all junk food. It's all garbage. It's all fucking cupcakes and chips, and ain't a damn good thing in there. But I mean, if you're complaining about your SNAP benefits, and you live in a blue state or a state where your representative is a Democrat, you need to be calling them every single day and letting them know, like, hey, listen, I don't care about your feelings right now. There's people that want food, and like I said, maybe I think it needs to be reworked, because there's a lot of people that play the system and they just take advantage of it to the tune of, like I just said, a couple $1,000s a month going to one family with 2 kids, and then another family with 2 kids will get, $200, $300. And it's like, there's a very big disparity in the amounts that are given. But I mean, if you're mad about it, if you lost your SNAP benefits, if you don't have them, this really isn't Trump's fault. This really isn't Republicans' fault. You just have to follow the facts, and they need 60 votes to pass the same bill they've been spending too much money on for a long time now. And they could just pass it again, make sure everybody's got food, and they could figure it out from there. But Democrats trying to blackmail their way into getting more money for illegals is just not going to help out. Anybody that's in a blue state, a purple state, anybody that's got a Democrat representative needs to be calling every single day and just letting them know, like, hey, listen, you need to put your feelings aside right now, and you need to go sign that paper. I mean, three Democrats have already come to the table and signed. I think it's maybe like 4 more signatures that we need, and that's it. But now we're getting to the point, I'm pretty sure I was reading earlier on X that Donald Trump and the representatives were talking about trying to possibly get rid of the filibuster, because I mean they're not left with much options. Are they supposed to let 40 million people go without food? Because they're not going to crumble on the demands of the Democrats. That's like letting 10% of the country demand the 90% that voted for him into giving them what they want. It doesn't make sense.
What are you going to tell those families if you vote no today? If you vote to take their food away this weekend? That's what your vote means today. 109,000 federal workers in his state of Georgia. Of course, the largest airport in America is in his home state of Georgia, and they're already experiencing flight delays in Atlanta. 231,000 women, infant, and children will lose their benefits in Senator Ossoff's home state of Georgia if he votes no today. Think about them when you're casting that vote. Senator Warner in Virginia, 825,000 SNAP enrollees in his home state of Virginia, 189,000 federal workers. Don't come up here and give some speech lamenting about the hardships those people are.
I'm not too sure why this guy is spitting out the numbers he is. Like, listening to the numbers he was just listing out, those were low. Those were low in comparison to some of the other places. I mean, I'm pretty sure California is like 5 million people on SNAP. Texas was just under, no, Florida was just under 3 mil. I can't remember what Texas was. Massachusetts was over 1 mil. And he's bringing up low numbers.
Facing when you're the one voting to impose those hardships. You can stop that today by voting yes. 107,000 women, infant, and children will lose their benefits in Virginia if Senator Warner votes no. Tina Smith in Minnesota, 452,000 enrollees in the SNAP program, 33,000 federal workers, and 101,000 women, infant, and children in Minnesota will lose their benefits if Tina Smith votes no today. Gary Peters in Michigan, over 1.4 million enrollees in SNAP. No food stamp benefits this weekend to 1.4 million Michiganders. 56,000 federal workers, 189,000 women, infant, and children will go without food this weekend in Michigan if Senator Peters votes no. Senator Sheehan in New Hampshire, 76,000 enrollees in SNAP, 9,000 federal workers, and 12,000 women, infant, and children will go hungry in New Hampshire if Senator Sheehan votes no. I could go on with more and more of these. All we need is 5. That's 5 right there. If they get the courage, they don't have to impose that pain on families. But the only way this suffering is prevented is if they come to their senses and vote yes. We all know the math. We all know what's needed. But it's not just math. It's millions and millions of families across this country that will truly suffer and go without food if they vote no today. It's a straightforward vote. We've all voted yes and passed it through the House over a month ago. End the madness and pass this bill. Our whip, Tom Emmer.
Are you wearing 7 layers and still freezing your man?
We are officially 30 days into the Democrats' needless government shutdown. 30 days that millions of federal workers have gone without a paycheck. 30 days that critical telehealth services and in-home hospital care programs have been put on pause for the vulnerable Americans who need it most. 30 days that our national security has been put at risk due to staffing shortages. Not to mention the SNAP benefits that you've heard our leader go through in detail that will be cut off for more than 40 million low-income Americans if the Democrats fail to reopen the government before Saturday. It's been 30 days of pure obstruction from Democrat lawmakers who care more about appeasing the radical Mamdani and Omar Fata wing of their party than reopening the government for the people they were elected to serve. Americans are hurting. Families are turning to food banks. Major airports are issuing ground stops. But the Democrats don't care. In fact, they've orchestrated this chaos by refusing to support our nonpartisan government funding bill 14 times now. And for what? So that they can kowtow to the people like Kami. And I will just say to my great friend and colleague, Claudia Tenney, socialists are now the moderates in my grandfather's Democrat Party. These are communists and Marxists. They are kowtowing to the people like Kami Mamdani ahead of the election. People are struggling in the meantime to put food on the table, and the Democrats are too busy playing politics to do anything about it. It's disgusting, and it needs to end. I say it every day when we do this. Remember, all we need is 5 Senate Democrats to come to their senses, break ranks with Chuck Schumer, support our clean CR, and reopen the government. It's past time for Democrats in Congress to get serious and do their jobs for the people they were elected to serve, not for the communist mayoral candidate in New York City. Our conference chair.
Thank you. Kami Mamdani, that might stick. That might stick. Well, good. Yeah, the truth hurts, right? Works. All right. Well, this Saturday, SNAP benefits run out for 42 million Americans. 42 million Americans, the SNAP benefits will run out. Let me say it one more time and let it sink in. 42 million families, including thousands in my home state of Michigan, could lose the ability to put food on the table for their families. Why? Because Democrats choose to use their pain and their hunger as leverage. Leverage for more wasteful spending, leverage to satisfy their radical base. And what are Republicans doing? Republicans did their job and are going to continue to do our job. We voted for a clean, responsible bill to keep the government open and fully fund SNAP. So let me be very clear. Republicans voted to continue funding for SNAP and continue to have families have the ability to feed their families. Democrats voted to take food off the table and voted to discontinue SNAP benefits. It is that simple. Democrats voted to shut it down, and they voted to deny food assistance to 42 million Americans. And they voted that way more than a dozen times. Just so y'all didn't get confused, they wanted to make sure that they rubbed it in your face more than a dozen times that they wanted to stop the SNAP benefits. Not just once, not just twice. They wanted to make doggone sure you knew they voted more than a dozen times to kill the SNAP benefits, to take food off your table. Just so you're clear. And let's remember, they did it, and let's make sure that we don't forget, and let's make sure we remind them who voted to keep food on the table and who voted to take food off the table. Because at some point in time, they're going to reverse what they're talking about and do what they normally do, and that's try and blame us. But let's hold them accountable for once to the votes that they've taken. I can assure you I will. I met one of these recipients last weekend while I was volunteering at a food bank in St. Clair County. His name was Jim. Jim's wife is a teacher, and he's a retired auto worker. They rely on SNAP to help cover the cost of groceries. Jim waited in line for more than 3 hours because he knows he won't be getting his benefits. That's what he told me. But you know what he told me? I thought this was very insightful. He told me, thank you. He told me, thank you for all you're doing to keep the government open. He also told me to please talk to our senators and ask them, since they voted and they campaigned on being moderates and reaching across the aisle, to fulfill their campaign promises and stop using families like Jim as leverage and care about the people that they were elected to represent. I also spoke with a woman who recently lost her husband. She's now raising her grandkids and told me she's never needed help before, but now she's struggling to afford groceries. These are real people struggling, real people that Republicans are actually fighting for, and real people that I am fighting for. Jim is not leverage. Jim is a person with a family to feed. Open up the government and stop using Jim and his family as leverage to kowtow to your radical political base. Do what you know is right and what you have said is right, and open up the government. A farmer back home once told me, when you're not hungry, you have a lot of problems. When you're hungry, you have one. Right now, families on SNAP have a problem. And that problem should never, ever be used as political leverage. So Republicans, we're going to keep on working and we're going to keep on fighting. And you know what? We will keep showing up. And while we keep demanding that Democrats stop using suffering Americans as pawns in their political games, I implore my two senators, do what you said you were going to do. Do what you said that you are. You've reached across the aisle. You're moderates. You care about people. Well, show that in your actions and vote for a clean CR for families like Jim who you represent. Please, they are counting on you. And every no vote means that you are keeping food from their table. So please, it is time to pass the clean CR and actually put the people who you represent, Americans, first. Thank you.
If you need full dentures but can't deal with the endless expensive dentist visits,
We'll take a few questions. I just want to thank again our colleagues from New York, LaLota and Lawler, Garbarino, Langworthy and Tenney. It's a difficult job to hold the line in that state, but they do it very, very well, and we're grateful they're there, and that there are so many common sense New Yorkers who still believe in freedom and in the greatness of America, and they keep sending us patriots like this to do the job. So we'll take a few questions. Yes, sir. Second row.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. During the last shutdown in 2019, it was the first Trump administration, and they made sure that in the second month of the shutdown, SNAP benefits would go out. They had them sent early. Why do you think they shouldn't do that this time?
Well, the president, this administration has done exactly what he did in the first term, and that is bend over backwards to make sure that we mitigate the harm. We explained here yesterday that any administration in a shutdown scenario has figuratively a control panel of pain dials. In the Obama administration, 2013, when they shut it down, they turned all the dials to 10. They wanted it to hurt, and so remember, famously, they put the yellow crime tape around the World War II memorial and prevented aging veterans from going and visiting these landmarks. They made it hurt. President Trump has done exactly the opposite. I mean, he's done everything he can. He's ordered all of his cabinet secretaries to mitigate the harm. So, for example, as you know, with WIC funding, they found a way to fund that with tariff revenue. We found a way to pay the troops once already in October, hopefully at the end of this month, by moving money around. But it's very difficult to do. Those are not inexhaustible funds. When it comes to SNAP, some of the Democrats have argued that you can use this contingency fund, but the truth is there's no legal mechanism to do it. Unlike with WIC funding that was attached to a 1930s era statute that was related to tariff funds because it was related to nutrition and food coming over the border, there's no such legal avenue to give SNAP funding now. It doesn't exist. The problem is the contingency and the authority to do that was voted down in the CR when the Democrats themselves did it. So the president has lamented this. He has informed USDA and everybody. Do as best you can, but the money doesn't exist to do it. The simplest way to end the pain and the simplest way to make this stop is for the Democrats to do the obvious and right thing and vote for the nonpartisan funding measure so that we can turn everything back on. Then we will get back here, and then we will debate all these other extraneous issues. But right now, the first job of the government is to keep it in operation and take care of the people who depend upon all these services we've articulated today. It's nonsense, and it has to end, and you should be asking them the tough questions, why they're willing to inflict this pain on the people for their partisan political purposes. Yes, ma'am. ACA subsidy working group. Look, I'm not surprised that the conversations are turning up in earnest. I mean, when you're talking about the handful of centrists and moderates that are there, they feel the pressure of this. You have all the major unions now coming out, as we've noted, demanding that they do the right thing and get the paychecks flowing again. You have flights being delayed and canceled. It harms people on their nutrition and their food and everything else. And so this is not.
All right. So I can't sit up too much longer on this. It's almost 4 in the morning now. I will weigh in more on this tomorrow, but anybody that's made it to this point in the video, you pretty much know how I feel about this. Although I don't like it, it's kind of bullshit what's going on. I understand it. Not from the Democrat side, but from the Republican side. We're not going to cave to your crazy demands, and no. The fact that people like Hakeem Jeffries have already come out and said, like, oh, watch, when Democrats get back in power again, it's going to happen. We're going to come after all of you. Like, you're sick, bro. You were already talking about killing people and killing their kids and shit like that, and you're gonna openly come out and be like, yeah, I'm definitely coming after people as soon as we get back in power. It's people like you that cause people to do violence, and it's just crazy. But that's about it for tonight. Like I said, if you're upset about the shutdown, which I don't like it at all, but if you're affected by it in a major way and you live in a democratic state, or you have democratic representatives, you need to be calling them every single day and saying, like, hey, listen, put your feelings aside. Let's get food back on the table, right? You say you care about your constituents. You say you care about your community that you're in Congress or in Senate to represent. Well, show that you care. Put your feelings aside. Sign it. We need like 3 more signatures, 4 more signatures. Other than that, I mean, as the title of the video says, I don't understand how they still have the jobs when they haven't shown up to work for 30 days. You know, by all accounts, if they lost their jobs, we wouldn't need 60 votes, and we could just go ahead and do it anyway, or just change it so we don't need the filibuster. But they're trying to do it legally, so there's not much pushback, because obviously there's pushback on everything. I mean, shit, Trump said don't take Tylenol, and those women going to the hospital left and right, so I'm pretty sure he could turn around and say air is the best thing for you, and the hospitals would be filled up before you know it. People passing out in the street from holding their breath. So if you have a Democratic representative in your state, you need to be calling them and let them know, like, hey, I don't agree with what you're doing. So other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. I definitely have more to pull together on this, as well as I want to talk about the I feel so bad right now. I watch his channel all the time. I'm subscribed and I can't remember the name of it. But the guy that does the audits for Massachusetts and looks into all the financials, I want to bring up something from his channel tomorrow. So if you guys did enjoy, if you guys are looking forward to more of this type of political content, subscribe. We can definitely have a chat, see what's going on. I don't know. We can't cave to crazy demands, but at the same time, you know, people need food. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching. It's late. I'm gonna head to bed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.